What's up, everybody? Welcome to week 49 here on the 52 Horrific Weeks 1981 series. I am your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in. Alrighty, so week 49 is here, and the remaining films went into the randomizer. Hit that random button. And we've got Ghost Story, a film I have not watched in a long time. It's been years and years since I've checked this out. And yeah, it definitely didn't get any shorter. That's, definitely apparent. Yeah, this is a long movie. I forgot how long it was. But yeah, getting into the, actually, first off, I'll tell you who's in this one. You got, this legendary cast in this one. You got Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., and John Houseman. So you got, a lot of veteran actors, been in the game for, 50-plus years apiece kind of thing. Also starring, what's his name? I can't remember the guy that plays. Anyways, doesn't really matter. Anyways, getting into the plot of this one. It starts out with Douglas Fairbanks' son in New York. Basically, right at the beginning of the movie, he's laying in bed with this woman. He kind of rolls over and looks at her, and she's all of a sudden turned into this demon kind of deal. And he backs up and he falls out of his window of his high-rise New York apartment and perishes to his death. So it jumps into the main four characters, who are played by Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks, and John Houseman. They are the four members that created this club called the Chowder Club. And basically what that is it's a club that they've had forever and ever. And what they do is they get together once a week, and they tell ghost stories and and just horror stories in general and stuff. So learning about the mayor's son's death, he gets all distraught and stuff like that. They've been telling these stories, and he gets kind of distraught. And basically what he does is he wanders out onto this bridge, and he ends up falling off this bridge and dying. It's ruled as a suicide, but some people think that it might not be a suicide. It just doesn't make any sense why he would do that. So there's 3 left in the Chowder Club, and of course the mayor's other son, he comes to town, and he feels that something's very wrong with this. Very wrong, because he knows something that might have happened to his brother. So what he does is, the price of admission to get into the Chowder Club is you have to tell a story, a horror story. So he proceeds to tell him about his backstory and this girl that he once met. So he was once this promising professor and whatnot, and he met this girl, fell in love with her and stuff like that, and she turned out to be kind of weird, and just he couldn't really figure her out and stuff like that. Anyway, she ends up leaving him, and she went to New York and ended up kind of hooking up with her brother, and she was going to marry his brother. And he found out about this, so he phones his brother in New York to tell him that this girl is pretty fucking, she's weird and shit, and she probably can't be trusted. His brother doesn't believe him because he figures that he's all jealous because she left him and was going to marry him and stuff like that. And so after he's finishing telling the Chowder Society the story, of course one of the members is like, no, that totally didn't happen. And the other members are like, well, that seems very believable and stuff. And what he does is he actually shows them a picture of the girl that he was dating and the girl that his brother got mixed up with, and she was like a splitting image of what happened to the 4 of them way back about 50 years prior. And what had happened was they have a horrifying story that they've never fucking actually told anybody. And what it was is they'd met this girl about 50 years later, looked exactly like this girl in the picture and stuff like that, and they had an unfortunate accident with her and stuff, and it's haunted them their entire lives. And yeah, and it turns out that they might be haunted by the presence of her or a demon, or maybe she's back for revenge or whatnot. So but yeah, so I'm just going to stop the story right there. This one's actually kind of hard because you can basically just tell the entire story of the film. But yeah, I'll stop it right there. First off, this is based off a Peter Straub book. I've never read the book before, but I heard it's fucking long, and it kind of makes sense because this movie is quite long. Apparently the story in here is very simplified to the actual real the book and stuff. But it's a brilliant made film. It almost feels like an anthology film because you have this wraparound story, and the stories that are told during the film almost feel like different stories. that kind of make up an anthology film. But it's not really an anthology film. It's just the way the story is told. Very cool stuff. Very cool film. It has a great atmosphere to it. It has a very snowy atmosphere too, which is very appropriate for the time of year I'm watching right now. It actually just started snowing about 5 minutes ago where I am, so it kind of was very fitting. But acted so brilliantly, very well acted. Like I said, the atmosphere is awesome. Like, it's just a creepy film. The score is used very well in this one. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot of problems with this film. It's just very good storytelling, and it's just overall a really enjoyable film. Now, my only nitpick with this film is that it runs a little too long. I think that it's just under 2 hours for a horror story is a little much. They probably could have cut back the stories a little bit. But overall, it's still very enjoyable. I'm not really going to complain about too much. I think the effects in this film are really pretty well done. I think it's 1981, early 80s effects and stuff that are very enjoyable. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this one. I can't, it's just a very enjoyable film. And if you've never seen this one, definitely check it out. It's a really good ghost story. It's up there with The Changeling for me. A couple of my favorite, ghost stories of all time. Like, it's brilliant. It doesn't rely on like heavy gore and just jump scares and stuff like that. It's more about the storytelling, and the characters and stuff and what they went through, and I just really respect that, how they did this movie. And it turned out that it was actually one of the top grossing horror films of 1981. Probably based on the fact that when this movie came out, there was a million slashers out, and I think people were probably starting to get tired of slashers already at that point. So, but yeah, anyways, Ghost Story. If you've never checked this one out, definitely check it out. I hope that someday this gets a Blu-ray release. This is like the old Image release snapper case. These cases are funny. But yeah, if I had to rate this, I'd probably give it probably about an 8.5 out of 10. It does lose a little bit for me because it is a little too long. I wish it was roughly 10-15 minutes shorter, but what can you do? 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a brilliant story. Very well acted. Everything about this is awesome. So definitely check this out. Week 49, Ghost Story. Yes. And I will be back next week with week 50. We are approaching the end slowly. We got a couple more reviews. And then, I'll be announcing the contest winners. If there is a winner, hopefully there is. If not, like I said, I'll put everyone into a hat and just pull someone's name randomly, whoever, was entered in the contest and stuff. So, anyway, guys, Mood616 signing off. Thank you for watching and subscribing. Peace out, homies.